Hello and welcome to this video series on the Gimp 2.4. In this video we're going to cover pretty much the last part of the brush tools, that being the pencil tool, the paintbrush tool, the airbrush tool, the ink tool, and the eraser tool. Now these five items have similar attributes and options, so that's one reason why I'm kind of lumping them all together here. So as we discuss one, then a lot of those same options or similar options will also be applicable to some of the other items left in our brush tool video. So let's go ahead and jump right on into this and get us a blank palette to work with here. Let's make this one a little bit bigger. Figure 250 by tray 50. I want to make sure we got a white background. White, okay, cool. Alrighty. Now, frankly, most of these items here I do not use on a day-to-day basis when working with header, footer images and creating ebook or DVD or video covers, e-covers, because most of that I'm just these are more freehand, and I gotta tell you, I cannot draw a straight line for the life of me. However, one good thing about the Gimp is I don't really have to. There's a function here that allows me to do that pretty easily, and that being holding down the shift key and just drawing away. So we're in the pencil mode right now, and we've got blue as our foreground color. Let me get rid of this background color, make it white. Okay, so now you can see we've got the mode, and as with the last several tools we've been working with, you got the same tool or the same modes here, the same options. Let me see here, the opacity, the brush size and style. And in case we didn't go over this earlier, there's a whole bunch of them down here, and there's also a video I'm going to make in the advanced series of videos for the Gimp on how to create your own brushes. But as you can see, there's a brush here that is actually a green pepper, and as you can see, that is the brush stroke. Yes, folks, the pepper strikes again. So again, we've got all kinds of choices here to work with. Just playing around here, but you get the idea. So let's stick with what we had, and you can change the scale, being the size of your brush stroke, and the opacity the same. For example, if we want to go with a dissolve, which is the one that's kind of a paint splatter kind of look, that's the dissolve. And really, I found that with the dissolve, if for some reason you find the need to use this, then you want to decrease the opacity on that. If you have it at 100%, you're not going to see it. It's going to be just like normal mode. So just a little hint there. Well, yeah, there's one here I like, the apply jitter. This is the too much coffee in the morning look. Let me make a bigger brush here so you see what I'm talking about. Okay, let me back this up a sec here. I think I need to apply a little more jitterage. There you go. How's that for over caffeinated? And that's, of course, for the life of me can't figure out a need for that in any of the work that I do, but hey, you might. So that's the apply jitter, and fade out, just as it says, you are fading out come the end. And one thing I thought was pretty cool was the use color from gradient, which is, by the way, this right here, which is another reason why it's pretty cool to have this set of tools up on your toolbox here, which again, as I explained earlier, you can get by going to the File, Preferences, Toolbox, and making sure all three of these guys are ticked. And we would go to here. As you can see, it's applying the gradient, which is this section here. Okay, so this is the pencil. Let's get the gradient out of here. And the brush, let me put these up here next to one another. Oh yeah, as far as the straight line, okay, that's my straight line there. As you can see, it's kind of sort of straight, but check this out. Hold the shift key down, and it gives you this little arm. While holding the shift key down, you can go from wherever the last line ended, holding the shift key down, and then click your left mouse button. So you may see a need for that, especially when we get into the ink here, which is pretty cool with the calligraphy style writing. Okay, so that's how you can get the straight line. Oh yeah, and as far as the pencil, okay, imagine that being kind of straight. And the paintbrush, the difference here, as you can see, it's the same, everything's the same. It's just that the paintbrush is a little bit wider because it will kind of round the edges rather than being more of a clean, straight edge that the pencil will leave. And the airbrush is a little bit different in that it's kind of like the paintbrush with the rounded edges, only it applies the amount of ink, if you will, the longer that you, or let's say the slower that you run the brush, the darker it will get. See how slow I'm going? And if I stop right there, then it's almost like the paint's going to start dripping. I'm applying too much paint to it. Okay, in the virtual world, that's how it would be. But you can adjust this too by the scale. No, I'm sorry, by the rate. The rate and pressure here will adjust that. And again, that's the big difference between, oh, and you can still do the straight line too by just simply holding down the shift key and doing that. So as you can see, there's really not a whole lot of difference here between these three, the pencil, the brush, and the airbrush, except for the sides are a little bit more feathery or rounded, more gentle looking, if you will, than the pencil. Other than that, though, you've got the same basic functions for all three. The jitter, the fade out, the gradient, a color you can use from this guy right here. Again, all the same modes. The brush styles are the same. And as far, except for the airbrush, you can adjust the pressure and the rate, so you can have fatter lines and less transparent. Now then, as far as the ink, let me get rid of these guys here. As far as the ink, you've got some choices down here. This is the big difference that I found, is that these choices here, and you can adjust these by putting your left mouse button and holding it down on this little square in the center here, and this will adjust the way in which the ink comes out. Let's try the brush up here as well. Nope, 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 right here. And we can do the size, make it a little bit smaller. You can see it's more of that calligraphy style look. And you can make some pretty major adjustments here. So if you're into calligraphy and you have that ability, oh, and again too, you got the straight line effect here going. And it's a little more noticeable with this, with the ink tool, because of the ability to alter this. Let's get this fat guy in here. So you can play around with this. I mean, like I said, you've got a lot of functionality, but a lot of similarities here between these brushes. And one cool thing about the eraser tool, because as you probably figured out, the eraser tool is, yeah, to erase. Now, the big difference here is that the eraser tool utilizes the color of the background, not the foreground, such as the case with the rest of these tools up here. They use the foreground color. Now, the eraser tool uses the background color in the attempt to erase. Let's go ahead and click on this and I'll show you what's up there. Now then, if you hold your control key down, you can see it turns into a color picker, or the eyedropper there. And now if you left click on a color, you see how it changed the background color there? You are now erasing in that color. So basically you're turning it into a brush. But there are some functions where I can see that coming in handy, where you've got the color picker right there in the guise of your eraser. So again, that's the control button, holding it down, and it picks that as the then background color that it is erasing from. And again, as the eraser is picked, you've got all these other same options basically that you have in the other brush tools up here. So hopefully you learned something with this, and you're going to be able to apply this additional knowledge to your tasks in using the GIMP and the brush tools. Thank you much for watching. Have a great day.